Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in. We have some really interesting things to talk about. To my super chat, thank you so much. If you support my voice during this tough time, I know there's other things you could spend your money on. Thank you very, very much. Subscribe right now to H.A. Goodman's other channel. I have a great segment up on there. Subscribe right now to Bizarro World Goodman. One of these days, my cousin will come back. I think he's hiding in a bunker someplace. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about a whole bunch of things. But this is really, really interesting. Really interesting. And please share my article in the Times of Israel on Facebook. Hillary Clinton, not Biden, will be nominee. I will have made the biggest political call of all time. And share my article in the Huffington Post on Facebook and Twitter. Hillary Clinton 2020 is a reality. Get ready for 8 years of Trump. That's below in the pinned comment and description. This is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Susan Rice emails declassified by Richard Grenell. And they show exactly what we already knew, but even more so. So we'll go with a Fox article first. Britt Hume says declassified Susan Rice emails suspicious on many accounts. This is a big story. There was never a reason. Okay, number one, it was never national security to conflate or to try to equate the DNC emails being allegedly hacked as national security. That's not national security. The DNC emails being hacked by anyone on the planet, same with the RNC emails, that's not a national security issue. The issues pertaining to the Democratic Party relate to their corruption, relate to the corruption of Bernie Sanders being cheated. Bernie Sanders was cheated. They blamed Russia, and they said it was a national security issue because Russia tried to interfere in the election. Well, that is the assumption there is that naturally people wouldn't want to vote for a corrupt political party, and if another foreign country, a foreign adversary, informed the American populace that the Democrats were corrupt, then obviously they went to Trump. So this is like the most absurd rationale on a grand scale, on a grandiose scale, but Democrats purchased an investigation utilizing a dossier that was outsourced by Clinton. A dossier outsourced by Hillary Clinton. A CrowdStrike assessment outsourced by the Democratic Party. CrowdStrike's CEO says in a transcript during House testimony, there's no concrete evidence that Russia hacked the DNC. James Clapper has no evidence. Susan Rice, Samantha Power have no evidence. Yet they investigated. When people say, well, what's the big deal? Oh, my God, this is ridiculous nonsense. They fabricated an investigation to take focus away from actual crimes that Comey covered up. Comey knew that Clinton and, Democrats allowed, or President Obama's administration allowed, Clinton to transfer top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers running outside of the United States government. This is not even feasible. This is not even feasible. You cannot transfer top secret and special access program intelligence onto servers for 4 years running outside of the United States government, but they managed to do that. That is a cybersecurity crime. That is a crime. You can't, even classified intelligence, transferring that or storing that, transferring that or storing that, you cannot do that, okay? Then you have issues pertaining to President Obama's administration going after an incoming candidate. What they don't understand when you hear, well, what's the big problem with Flynn, his name being shown in communication? Because he was an incoming national security advisor, and he was part of President Obama's administration, and President Trump and President Obama came in with a Russian reset. So did Trump, in a way. And just a couple years earlier, when he was up against Mitt Romney, it was all about, well, the 80s want their foreign policy back. Democrats allowed, and they don't care, that millions of dollars flowed from Uranium One, the actual company that was purchased by Putin, into the Clinton Foundation. They don't see anything suspicious about that. Democrats they live within plausible deniability, and they don't allow plausible deniability for anyone else. So they keep saying, well, Clinton had no way to stop the deal, and President Obama could have vetoed the deal. He chose not to, but Putin got 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. Eventually. The issue, ladies and gentlemen, is that in terms of ties to Russia, they had more ties to Russia than Trump, a lot more. In terms of criminal activity, they committed more crimes, or they actually committed crimes. Trump did not. If Clinton were president and they wanted to impeach Clinton, there is 18 U.S. Code 371, where even if the whole thing, Clinton intentionally used a server with top secret intelligence on it. That was intentional. But even if you say it was unintentional, that's still under 18 U.S. Code 371. Now, this is interesting. Brit Hume says declassified Susan Rice emails suspicious on many counts. This is a big story. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume responded Tuesday to a newly declassified email by Susan Rice that states then FBI Director James Comey suggested in January 2017 that President Obama keep National Security Advisor designate Michael Flynn out of the loop on matters pertaining to Russia. They did not tell Michael Flynn because they were going to set up Michael Flynn. And when they say that he lied to the FBI, number one, we have no evidence that he lied to the FBI. We're trusting Peter Strzok. That's like trusting a corrupt law enforcement official. And most law enforcement officials are not corrupt, but sometimes you find corrupt people. And so the issue, ladies and gentlemen, is that when Michael Flynn was National Security Advisor, he should have been notified. He wasn't notified because they wanted to set him up and frame him. It wasn't just the interview with Michael Flynn. It wasn't just the Steele dossier. It wasn't just CrowdStrike. It wasn't just FISA applications. It wasn't just 17 deliberately false statements within the FISA applications. It wasn't just going after Carter Page. It wasn't just setting up and framing George Papadopoulos. It wasn't just liberal journalists working with FBI officials. It wasn't just one thing. It was an entire apparatus where you had millions of people who were scorned. Millions of people who wanted retribution. They believed that Russia really hacked the DNC because they wanted President Trump. They didn't put two and two together and ask, well, if Russia hacked the DNC, would they have hacked Clinton's servers that were unencrypted for 3 months, actually 5 months, because she started with an AT&T email account. So here, according to the email, Comey told President Obama during a January 5th, 2017 Oval Office meeting that Flynn's contacts with Russia's then ambassador to the U.S., quote, could be an issue as it relates to sharing sensitive information. When President Obama asked Comey if he was advising the National Security Advisor Council not pass Flynn's sensitive information related to Russia, Comey replied, potentially. Comey replied, potentially. RCJ! Clinton can break skiff rules as politicians are above the rule of as above the laws of y'all minions. Free Assange RCJ, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's see. Top secret intelligence, servers for 4 years, special access program intelligence, classified data. So, pretty unbelievable when you think about it. But thank you again, RCJ. Thank you. Thank you, RCJ. Thank you. She wishes that all... Okay, so... A representative for Rice stressed in a statement on Tuesday that, quote, no discussion of law enforcement matters or investigations took place, despite accusations to the contrary. Of course it did. The basis for this nonsense was that you keep the Trump administration out of the loop. You keep them out of the loop under the premise that there's this super secret, really important investigation. And it's because Russia wanted Trump. That's why Russia hacked the DNC. Russia hacked the Clinton campaign and DNC because they knew these emails would be embarrassing. It wasn't that the American people found out that there was an immense amount of corruption, which caused Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign. And one of the emails in the campaign emails said, Susan Rice said, President Obama knows of the server, which also would have removed any attorney-client privilege. I wrote about this in the Daily Caller. But you look, a spokeswoman also insisted that the Obama administration did not change the way it briefed Flynn and that Rice welcomed the release of the full email text. Well, of course, when Comey says potentially, that's just a way for him to deflect responsibility. Because if he says potentially, he really means yes. But that also could mean that he's saying no, but that another person he's talking to is saying yes. So these people they're not even good at corruption. And John Durham knows, it's not like John Durham doesn't know. He's already put an FBI official in Boston in prison for a long time. It's not like that FBI official had a paper saying, okay, I'm going to work with these criminals in Boston, and I will do this, and I am actually breaking the law. No. He found evidence that the whole thing was a racket. And that's what John Durham is doing now. Look, media doesn't care and doesn't understand, so they'll do is they'll pick certain portions. They'll be like, well, it's just standard procedure. What's the difference? It's not standard procedure for an incoming presidential candidate. Find an example of an incoming administration where you had a national security advisor or others have their conversations surveilled pertaining to ambassadors. Jimbo! I heard that docs were screenshotted and sent. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. That's from Paul Sperry, and at the New York Post wrote that. Jimbo, thank you. RCJ, thank you. My Australian crew is amazing here. I have the most amazing Australian viewers. RCJ, thank you. Jimbo, yeah, that's one theory. And I cite Paul Sperry in my book, Butter Top Secret Emails, and my books, Butter Top Secret Emails and Butter Deleted Emails, on Amazon. If you have Kindle, check them out. But Jimbo, I heard the docs were screenshotted and sent to HRC. Yes, that's one of the ways it could have happened. This is a serious, serious issue that will never, ever go away. Because it's almost like Durham and William Barr are waiting for media to change their tune. They're almost like waiting for media to change their tune. Jimbo, thank you. Agent Pepsi 1. Biden Obama Clinton, no charges. Imagine that. Well, President Obama he will never get charged with anything. So former presidents, it's the people underneath President Obama who he gave either overt or tacit approval for all of these people to do what they wanted to do. So obviously he was a part of everything, but he wasn't a part of the day-to-day operations in setting up and framing Flynn and Page and Papadopoulos and President Trump and everyone around him. The people who were a part of the day-to-day operations were Comey, Strzok, McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, all of these people. So those were the people who were a part of all of it. And so that's basically what happened. All of these people set up and framed President Trump because they lost the election. And they needed some kind of a bizarre, absurd excuse. So the excuse that they gave was, well, Russia hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie was cheated. Two Brain Cells! Hey there. Hello, Two Brain Cells. Hello. Great name. Hey there. Hello. Thank you so very, very, very much. Two Brain Cells. Yes. That is an awesome name. Thank you for watching. And thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Two Brain Cells. Hello. Thank you again. Thank you. So they don't understand, like, okay, media has a very difficult time. Media has a very difficult time understanding that they have a very difficult time imagining that any nefarious motive was placed on all of this. The reason they have a difficult time is, A, they don't care. So that's one big issue. They don't really care at all if there was a nefarious motive or not. And furthermore, they are now completely and utterly programmed to believe that Russia hacked the DNC to inform the country that Bernie was cheated, thus forcing Debbie Wasserman Schultz to resign in disgrace and 4 other Democratic National Committee officials to resign in disgrace. They are convinced of this. This is like gospel to them. They are absolutely convinced of this. And they do not know that the House transcripts have been released. So Two Brain Cells, thank you again. Thank you. Thank you again. Greatly appreciated. They don't care. See, that's the thing also. When you hear people try to, oh yeah, well, what's going on here? It's just, they don't care. They don't care. So it's not like they and they wouldn't allow any of this. You think they would allow the Bush administration to utilize the same tactics against President Obama's incoming administration? They would never have allowed that. They would never have allowed that. Do you think that if Clinton wins, which she won't, but let's say she wins in 2020, which she won't, because President Trump is going to defeat Clinton again. But do you think in an alternate reality, Hillary Clinton wins the election in 2020, and there's a dossier about her, and all the names of her officials are utilized to start FBI probes and investigations of them, and then 30 people around her administration are indicted because of process crimes, because President Trump's intel community is confident to highly to moderately confident that they worked with another country. They went after Trump without any evidence. The only evidence they had was that Clapper, Brennan, and Comey were moderate to high confidence. That's it. They never had any evidence. They never had any evidence. That's the thing. It's not, see, for them to get away with everything, they have to have the media. But they also have to have millions upon millions of Democrats and liberals and really, really scorned people who want to believe anything. Do you think that the average Democrat wants to look in the mirror and say, okay, yeah, we lost because we're horrible? No. They still believe. You can go, I don't have Twitter, I don't have Facebook, but you can go on Twitter and Facebook, and they will be talking about how Russia interfered and how Russia did this, and how certain, it's like they're mindless. They have no, if you took a time machine back to the 80s and said, okay, the Democratic Party allowed a Democratic president to, a Democratic president allowed the sale, did not veto the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity to Russia. And if you said this before the Berlin Wall fell, the average in the 60s, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you said there's a Democratic president that allowed the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity, knowing that uranium could build you-know-what, they would say, what? The United States allowed the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity? Luke, St. Martin, Eric H526, hello. What? Could you imagine during the Cold War that you would have Russian lobbyists or a Russian company funneling millions of dollars into the charitable organization of a Democratic nominee? Do you think that would be an issue? Do you think that they would say, wait a second, this is absurd? Obviously, they're funneling money through a charitable foundation or whatever because they can't stuff the dollar bills into the golden muumuu or Bill Clinton's pockets. Oh, I totally like that if you stuff something in my pocket. So, but they've completely flipped the script. They have completely and utterly engaged in the most absurd revisionist history. So, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. So this is a big story, and the irregularities in the handling of the whole Russia investigation was a big story. And the journalists don't want to hear about irregularities because they bought the whole package. They went along and pursued this and engaged in this headlong pursuit of Russian collusion theory, which totally ended up on their faces. Brian Morrow, sup HA, Democrats are rocket surgeons, not. Brian Morrow, hello. Hello, Brian. Hope all is well. So that was Fox. Here's a National Review article. Declassified Susan Rice emails show Comey had no indication Flynn passed classified info to Russian ambassador. In a newly declassified email that Susan Rice sent to herself on January 20th, 2017, the former National Security Advisor said that former Director James Comey had no indication that Michael Flynn had passed along classified information to Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, but stipulated that Comey was nevertheless wary about sharing sensitive information with Flynn because of the frequency of his contact with Kislyak. He was the incoming National Security Advisor. Furthermore, Kislyak has never been charged with a crime. Furthermore, they had no evidence that any foul play was taking place. And you want to know the kicker? You want to know, like, the most important thing about all of this? The Steele dossier that they utilized to start everything wasn't even classified. There's no classified U.S. intelligence that started any of this because it was all outsourced and purchased. That's why when Comey made a big deal, it was not even classified. The Steele dossier isn't even classified. Then why would you use information that was obtained, that was purchased by Trump's direct political rival to go and utilize that against him? It makes no sense. They would never allow this. Where's the Clinton dossier? I want to know this. They blame everything under the sun. Every single thing under the sun they blame. Every single thing under the sun. And yet, for Trump, they say, well, this is all normal. It's not a problem. What's the big deal? So then you have, like, Susan Rice memorializing interactions that are hilarious. Well, we just want to let you, note to self. The president wants nothing to do with anything that could possibly be unlawful. And Comey said that he's wary and kind of really suspicious that Michael Flynn spoke to the Russian ambassador, even though Democrats spoke to the Russian ambassador as well. Even though Democrats spoke to the Russian ambassador as well. All the time. So, the whole thing is very bizarre. Flynn and Kislyak spoke 5 times in December 2016 after President Obama signed an executive order that announced sanctions against Russia for trying to interfere in the 2016 presidential election. So this is great. President Obama, the last thing he does is impose sanctions on Russia. And then Michael Flynn tries to reduce tensions between a former adversary, who the Democrats think is now like the biggest adversary ever, yet they, under their watch, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity and yellowcake uranium was shipped off. And yellowcake uranium was shipped off. So in the calls, which were monitored by the FBI, Flynn told the Russian ambassador not to escalate tensions, which Russia agreed to. Isn't that a good thing? Don't you want the incoming national security advisor to not escalate tensions? Pete Solano! H.A. Barr has so much evidence on the past administration. Why is it taking so long to prosecute the people involved? Pete Solano, great question, which leads to a great point that you just made through the question. Brian Morrow, exactly. Logan Act for John Kerry, exactly. Big time, with numerous countries. Brian Morrow, thank you. Pete Solano, they have the goods. They have everything they need, but they don't have the media. And the way the government works, especially the government, is that they need some momentum within the media. And also, there's an ongoing investigation that John Durham has. It'll almost certainly go past the election. He's not going to start indicting people before the election, because then you'll have, oh my God, interference. See, with them, it's always interference, but the Mueller probe was never interference. Okay? They don't stand, Pete Solano, they don't stand for anything. They don't stand for Medicare for all. They don't stand for being tough on Russia, because they weren't when they were in the Oval Office. They don't stand for any specific policies that people can say, okay, well, I'm voting Democrat because of this. You can say that with Trump, especially foreign policy. He's already reversed 16 years of failed foreign policy, signing a peace deal in Afghanistan that nobody on the left talked about. Being the first president to step foot in North Korea, to begin détente between North and South Korea. and a roadmap towards peace, to where President Moon Jae-in stated that Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Pete Solano, thank you. They're waiting for media to slowly get on board, and that will happen after President Trump wins. Luke St. Martin! But Pete, if President Trump doesn't win, all of this, we could say goodbye to everything. Luke St. Martin! Thank you very much, Luke. Thank you. Thank you. In addition to being amazing moderators, Eric H526 and Luke St. Martin also support me, which is great. Luke St. Martin! Have you seen the new ad from Team Trump featuring Sleepy Joe? Hilarious, must see. You know what? Luke St. Martin, thank you so much. Hold on one second. Link below. Okay, so hold on. Let me click that link. Okay, I can't get it on my screen, but here. So hold on. Luke St. Martin first. Thank you so very much. Thank you as always. Thank you, Luke St. Martin. Let me click. So hold on. Trump. Trump campaigns targets Biden in North Carolina. Fizz the Washington Post. Faced with a Trumpian barrage of attacks, Joe Biden chooses to look the other way because he's not even going to be nominee. That's why. In the battle of Biden versus Trump, money may be less important than ever. Yeah, keep believing that, Washington Post. It's so hilarious watching them get into a little, like, a tiny little boat called the USS Biden. A leaky, little, like, inflatable boat. And making it sound like it's an aircraft carrier. So, hold on one second. Let me see. I can't see it on my end, but... Luke St. Martin, thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There's no way. Look. There's no way. Luke St. Martin. Eric H526. Thank you, everybody. Luke St. Martin, thank you. Very, very much. Two brain cells, thank you. There's no way. There's absolutely no way, ladies and gentlemen, that Biden's going to be nominee. He is the ultimate placeholder for Madam Secretary. I will have made the biggest political call of all time. And I'm putting my beanie back on. Okay, Biden has nothing to say. He called President Trump President Tweety today. Okay? It's the most ridiculous nickname. President Tweety. You know the thing. John, hello. You know the thing. So Luke St. Martin, yeah. Look, when it comes to China, when it comes to Burisma, when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to unwanted social contact, when it comes to allegations that are not only credible, notice how they always use an adjective before the allegation. With Trump and Kavanaugh, well, it's credible. Well, that's because it's your opinion, Democrats. You want it to be credible. You don't look at it. You don't investigate it with the same fine-tooth comb that you do with Biden. Now there are hit pieces on top. They've gone not only hypocritical. They've not only become hypocrites, but they're now attacking her as a human being. Oh, her life and this and her past and everything. It's like, wait a second. If you did that with Kavanaugh's accuser, oh my God, you would have been crucified. You would have been eviscerated. Luke St. Martin, thank you. Aussie J, the thing. Come on, man. Can I sniff your What is that, Pantene Pro V? Boysenberry Supreme? Oh, my God. Come on. I'm Biden. Your touch. Yeah, your touch. Stick it right here. Oh, yeah, Biden. Yeah. Truthoverfacts.com. Okay, I gotta check that. Truthoverfacts.com. Okay, that's great. That is great. You know what? Truthoverfacts.com. I'm trying to. For some reason, I can't get on it. Aussie, that's right. Aussie J. Brian Morrow. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow has got to go. AJ, keep it going. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. Yes, Brian Morrow. Yes, Aussie J. Thank you. That Gilligan's Island. That was a great show. Todd Rubel. Where did Hunter go again? Oh, my God. Where is Hunter? All the clubs are closed, so where is Hunter? Where is he off to now? Who knows? It's really amazing how when anything detrimental to Democrats takes place or any story, it is shut down completely. It is completely shut down. Completely shut down. Luke St. Martin, Brian Morrow, Todd Rubel. Who knows? Spacebar, thank you for watching from Dublin. Thank you, Spacebar, thank you. Todd Rubel, Brian Morrow, Luke St. Martin. Oh my God. And you have like Washington Post. It's interesting the way the Washington Post, all 50 states ease restrictions. Trump opposes extending benefits. No, but he wants to open up businesses. So notice how everything is spun. Everything is spun. Everything is spun. Everything is spun for political gain. Everything is spun for political gain. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of this is a public relations battle. Get as many quick stories out there. See which ones stick. And move on to the next calamity and outrage if you're a Democrat. Oh, thetruthoverfacts.com. Okay, I will check that out. Thank you, Luke St. Martin. Thank you, thetruthoverfacts.com. So, okay, gotcha. Launch of Truth or an investigative website aimed at truthoverfacts.com. It's so great. Oh my God. This is so awesome. Oh my God. This is so great. If you have any tips related to the discovery of Truth Over Facts, text Truth. Text Truth to 88022. Oh my God, that's submit tip. That is so hilarious. That is so hilarious. This is so funny. This is so funny. This is so funny. This is so great. Oh my God, that's so great. Jimbo! Did you see Biden throw... Oh, you know what? It's interesting because... It's interesting because Stacey Democrats... Oh my God. So now the Washington Post, Stacey Abrams is the Democrats' Sarah Palin. I didn't, Jimbo, but I Whitmer, Abrams, if he picks Whitmer, even with Clinton running, it's even more lost than ever before. I don't see how they're gonna see. I was actually kind of worried that Clinton would win because they're not going with Biden. Okay, I will have made the biggest political call of all time. They're going with Hillary Clinton. And they're going to do this all over again. How it happens, whether it's the day of the convention or a week before or whatever, nobody knows. Or whether Biden, takes off his clothes and jumps into the reflecting pool. Hey, man, come on now, man. You know the deal. So, Jimbo, how it happens, I'm not sure. Free Assange, Aussie J. Jimbo, Abrams is not fit. How it happens... I nobody knows, but it ain't gonna be Whitmer. It ain't gonna be Whitmer, and that's interesting right then and there. A dozen women are under consideration. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. Todd Rubel. Todd. Guys, with YouTube policies, I can't really. But Todd, thank you. Okay, Aussie J Todd with there's YouTube policies, so Well, it's interesting because Nancy Pelosi stated that Trump was morbidly obese as she has 10 tons of the most fattening ice cream you could ever imagine. Good ice cream, but fattening. Aussie J Todd. Kamala Harris has not controversies, but she does not have tremendous support within the African American community. Elizabeth Warren has a litany of controversies, and progressives can't stand Warren. And she lied about her heritage. She's won 1,032nd. Whitmer is not liked in Minnesota. So... who knows? Whatever happens, Madam Secretary is going to be nominee. She'll lose again. She'll lose again. It'll be interesting whatever happens, people. Whatever happens, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we know what... Look, I'm talking about in terms of... the election. I mean, the vice president. Who Biden picks as vice president? Come on, man. You know the deal, man. They're not going with how the world has been duped, and I am literally the only person telling you, people, this is not happening. How the world has been duped shows, really shows the influence of media in our society. Really does show the influence of media. Really shows the influence of media in our society. Pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. It is, ladies and gentlemen, pretty amazing. So, I mean, it is really unbelievable, the influence of media in our society, that we're able to, that people actually believe this nonsense. It is just unbelievable. Biden couldn't even win an election as, like, for the mayor of your town. He couldn't even win as mayor of, like, think of Biden running against anyone. Think of Biden as a Republican. That should be interesting. Think of what would happen if Biden were a Republican. Do you think every single statement he's made, from wanting to run as a senator to leg hairs to cornflakes to wanting the cure to be worse than the problem to the hilarious and absurd live streams and virtual meetings, do you think those things would be amplified? Do you think they'd be amplified? Because you think they'd be amplified? Do you think that, or they would just, sweep everything under the rug? It's pretty unbelievable. Like, when you consider the overt nature of how they cover up everything that is detrimental to their side and publicize everything that's detrimental to their political opponents. Everything detrimental to their political opponents is publicized beyond belief. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be back at 11:15 or so, people. So we're going to take about 45 minutes, about 45 minutes, an intermission, ladies and gentlemen. To my super chat, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, be back. Be here at around... in about 45 minutes, okay? Keep checking this channel. I'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Take a moment, eat some food, relax, grab a drink, whatever you need to do. I'll be back in about 45 minutes. See you soon, everyone. To my super chat, thank you. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you very soon.